So when we start here, the first thing that we're talking about is when we are taking a non-zero number to a negative power, don't let yourself be fooled into thinking that that makes the answer negative. That is not what a negative power does. Can anybody tell me what does a negative power actually do instead? Becca, what do you think?
Fraction.
Makes it into a fraction, doesn't it? It makes it smaller. So how does that happen? Even though the calculator can make it happen, why or how does that happen? How does it become a decimal? How does it become a fraction? Why? What's 2 to the 4th power? Anybody know?
It's 32.
I don't think so.
16.
I think it's 16. 2 times 2
4 times 2.
times 2 times 2. I think it's 16, right? What's 2 to the 3rd power?
8.
8. What's 2 to the 2nd power?
4.
What's 2 to the 1st power?
2. 1.
What happens every time? Every time we went down an integer value in the exponent, we went from 2 to the 4th to 2 to the 3rd to 2 to the 2nd to 2 to the 1st. What happened every time? It went 16 to 8. That's what relationship do they have? 8 to 4 dividing by 2, right? So we took out a factor of 2. 2 to the 4th is 4 factors of 2. 2 to the 3rd is 3 factors of 2. So we took out one of the factors of 2. So it's like we're dividing out a 2. So what is going to be 2 to the 0 power then?
0.
1. 1. Because 2 divided by 2 is, remember 2 to the 1st power you said was 2. Did you not say that? 2 to the 1st power is 2. And we said if we go down an integer, 2 to the 0 power, 2 divided by 2 would be 1. Well then what would 2 to the negative 1 power be?
1 over 2.
1 over 2. That 1 would have to be divided by 2, which is 1/2, right? Well then what would 2 to the negative 2 power be?
1 over
1/4, yeah. Because now we divide that 1/2 by 2. In other words, we take that 1/2 and say when you divide it into 2 parts, you have 1/4 in each of those parts, right? Well then what would 2 to the negative 3 power be?
Negative 8. 1 over 8.
1/8. Is it getting negative? As those integer values go down, -2, -3, to -4, and so on, do you think it'll ever get negative?
No.
No. It will only get what?
Smaller.
Smaller and smaller and smaller, and it'll eventually get really close to 0, but it's never going to get there? No, there isn't anything taken to a power that gives you 0. Okay, you cannot get there doing it. So when you're taking something to a negative power, it's not ever going to make the answer negative. That is not what would make the answer negative. What would make the answer negative? What if we were taking -2 to the -3 power? What did you say 2 to the -3 power was again?
8.
2 to the negative, oh, I don't think so. 2 to the -3 power, I think we said was 1/8.
Oh.
8. Okay. Well then, what would happen if this was a -2 to the -3 power?
-2 times -2 is positive 4, and then that times a negative.
It would be a -8, and so then
Negative.
it'd be -1/8. In fact, if you did it on your calculators, what your calculator would say is -0.125, most likely, which is -1/8. Now it became negative. I just said, oh my gosh, can you believe anything I say? I just said, when you take it to a negative power, it will not make the answer negative.
Oh, the integer was negative.
But it isn't that it's because it's to a negative power, it's because it was a negative base. And a negative times a negative is a positive, and then we did a third time, a positive times a negative is a negative. So it was the multiplying that created the negative, not the taking it to a negative power. The negative power made it that 1/8, and then the -2 times a -2 is times another -2 made it negative. So you can always count on that taking it to a negative power does not make the answer negative. Okay, that is not what would make it negative. Well, what about taking a non-zero number to the 0 power? What does that not do? It doesn't make it 0. You might be tempted to say, you know what? When you multiply by 0, you get 0. So when you take something to a 0 power, wouldn't you get 0?
No.
What did we say 2 to the 0 power was? 1. But everybody in your calculators right now take something to the 0 power. I don't care what it is. It's 1? What was it?
2 to the 0 power.
2 to the 0 power is 1. Don't anybody repeat that one here. We got that one. Okay, give me another one. Aaron? 5 to the 0 power is 1. Mara?
6 to the 0 power.
6 to the 0 power is 1. How about 0 to the 0 power?
0.
Don't
be
be
better.
0 is 1.
I wonder why that is.
Divide by 0.
Kids, can you divide by 0?
No.
And remember what happens when you go when the exponent keeps decreasing in integer value? You keep dividing by that base. So if 0 is your base, you'd have to divide by 0. Can you divide by 0? No, you can't. Just keep trying on your calculator. It better not ever let you do it, or you better get rid of that calculator. Because you cannot divide by 0. So you can't take 0 to the 0 power then either. How about a negative number? Anybody try that? What's a negative 3? In parentheses, you'd have to put it to the 0 power. Is it negative what?
1.
It's 1. Anything except 0 to the 0 power will be 1. It is not going to, if you even take a negative number to the 0 power, it's going to turn out to be 1. Okay, so then that means there's some rules we can count on all the time. When x does not equal 0, a non-zero number, when x does not equal 0, x to the 0 power can always be considered to be what? 1. Always. We can replace it with 1. When x isn't 0, that's what it says. What can we count on when x does not equal 0? We can count on x to the 0 power being 1. Well, what do you think we can count on x to the negative n power being? A fraction. Okay, well then give me a fraction name for x to the negative n power. Give me a fraction name. 1 over x, I heard. Is that it? 1 over x? Positive n and negative n? I don't know, you guys can't make up your mind. Did you ask Q3R today?
1
Did you
over
learn
x
anything in
and
Q3R?
how did
1 over x to the nth power. So in other words, we make it into a fraction that n is no longer a negative n, it is now a positive n. Because remember what happened. You told me that 2 to the negative 1 power was 1/2. Do you agree? Is that what you told me? Are you going to stick with that? Yeah. Okay. You told me that 2 to the negative 2 power was 1/4. You going to stick with that?
Yeah.
What, are you going to change your mind now?
No.
You want to try it on your calculators? Just in case? Okay, well then. Then, how about 2 to the negative 3? What'd you tell me that was? 1/8. Because remember, we keep dividing by 2, right? Isn't that what we do? So, hey, can this be written as a power? Is that the same thing?
Yeah.
Is that the same thing?
Yeah.
Is that the same thing?
Yes.
Look what happened. It was 2 to the negative 3 power, 2 to the negative 3, and it became 1 over 2 to the positive 3. 2 to the negative 2 power, it became 1 over 2 to the positive 2 power. 2 to the negative 1, it became 1 over 2 to the positive 1 power. We can count on that all the time. How about what, though, if we have this fraction? We start with this fraction, there's a negative power in the denominator. How can we rewrite that? Because here's the deal, folks. Here's the reason we have to go through this today. You do not get to claim that an expression is simplified when there are negative or 0 powers in it. So you can claim to me your homework's done, I'm going to be like, no, it's not. There's a negative power there. Oh, there's a 0 power there. No, sorry, you didn't work hard enough. It's not simplified. So, How are we gonna get rid of this negative power in this fraction? Because I'm not gonna let you get away with it. Any ideas what we could do? So maybe we could use an example, or one of these as our example. Can we try that? Let's do this. Let's go 1 over 2 to the negative 3. Well, let's use a little bit easier one. Let's go with negative 2, okay? So let's go with 1 over 2 to the negative 2 power. Is that like that? Is this that? Okay. So what did we say 2 to the negative 2 power is the same as? 1/4. So we got 1 over 1/4. Huh. How many 1/4? That's downstairs. How many 1/4 are there in 1?
1.25.
How many 1/4? How many quarters are there in a dollar?
4.
4. This actually equals 4. And 4 written as a power is the same as 2 to the second power. So it came from being 1 over x to the negative n power, it ended up x to the positive n power. Here's what we can do. That negative power in the denominator can move upstairs to the numerator and become positive. Just like in the one above it, it was a negative really in a numerator, and it came downstairs into a denominator and became positive. And we just did a whole bunch of stuff here to show that it really actually does work. Okay? So those are all some rules that we're going to use and use and use. But here's some other things we need to talk about, because I had one of you say to me while we were correcting, isn't a negative 12 times itself a positive? And it is, isn't it? A negative times a negative is a positive. Well, how do we know when the negative is involved in the power? Because here's a really important statement. This, right here, written this way, does not mean the same thing as that. It does not mean the same thing. This one, when it's written without parentheses, that is saying you're going to take only the 2, this part right here, is the only thing taken to the 4th power. And that negative sign out front is a multiplier. It's like a negative 1. So in fact, let's make that a negative 1 right there. Let's put a 1 in there. So that negative sign is not part of the base. It's in front of the base. And what do order of operations say you should do first? Should you multiply first or do exponents first?
Exponents.
Exponents first. So we're not going to take that negative 1 times the 2 first. We're going to take that 2 to the 4th power first. And then we're going to take that answer times negative 1. So what do we get? Negative 16. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. 2 to the 4th power is 16. Go back and multiply it times that negative 1, and you get a negative 16. Well, what happens when we have negative 2 to the 4th power and it's in parentheses? Now it is saying, here's your base. It's negative 2. This is what's going to get multiplied times itself 4 times. What's negative 2 times negative 2?
4.
4 times negative 2.
Negative
8.
Negative 8, and negative 8 times negative 2. Positive 16. There's a difference, isn't there? So in your homework, when you had that one, negative 12 squared, what was really getting squared?
12.
12 was getting squared, and then that is what? What is 12 squared?
144.
144, and then you have to make that negative because you're really multiplying it times the negative 1. So this is negative 144. How would it become a positive 144?
If there was parentheses.
If there was parentheses around that negative 12, then it would be a positive 144. Okay, try that last one on your own then. See what you get. Evaluate negative 2 to the 3rd power without your calculator. Okay, all of you in favor of a -8? If you're right, you get out of class early. So anybody want to go with -8? -8? -8? Going once, going twice. Hunter, it's -8? You think it's -8? He's gonna take the chance though, because you know what? I said, if you have a -8, you get out of class early, unless you're wrong. So are you feeling convinced that you're right? So you can get out of here early? You know, this would be a good day for you to get out early. You said your homework's almost done. You must know what you're doing already. You did. I don't know, he might know. Oh, you guys, the rest of you want a +8?
No matter what, can you go to class early?
No, I didn't say no matter what. I said, yes. You think it's -8, and you're right, you get out of class early. So have you been convinced that it's -8 so you can pack your things and go? Oh, you don't get out early, you can't convince me? You're not even worth, you don't even want to try, you don't even want, you like this class at all, you don't even
Go for it, Hunter, just try.
Bring back that bird, maybe the bird can convince her.
The bird,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they don't do it.
Yeah. Okay, Kara? No, you just watched Chekhov's, you didn't try and convince me, sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Since the negative is outside of the parentheses, I'm typing what's in parentheses, negative once you're all done squaring it.
So you're thinking that this is like a -1 then, that has to wait till the end? And then we're really taking -2 times -2 times -2? Is that what you're thinking here? Is that what I'm hearing? And then what happens when we take -2 times -2 times -2? What do we get? -8. Oh, okay. And then that's that part, and then we still have that -1 out front, which makes it +8. Oh, well, that one didn't help how you get out of that. You know, because this is that. So you haven't convinced me that it's -8 yet. It appears it's
But it's
+8.
not.
Yeah.
And everybody do it that way?
Yeah.
Nobody else did it another way and still got a +8 answer? How about you, Dylan? Did you? Hey, what'd you do, Dylan? So you took this negative that's out front of the -2 and said that's going to make this a +2? And then that's going to be taken to the third power? And then that is 8, so we still get a +8 answer? Can we do that, do you think? Yeah. Okay, go ahead then and do this one for me. Do you have some white space over here?
Yeah.
Okay, good, because I got another problem for you to do. Here it is. I want you to do a -2 to the 4th power.
This one's good.
This one might get somebody out of class, you think? Okay.
I can dream.
Dylan. And the answer is London? -16.
It's not positive.
Okay. I think this time I'm gonna let whoever can convince me that it's a +16 get out of class.
Why
I'm just
not
gonna make it
negative?
into negative
It seems like a popular answer. I always like to go against the grain. You know, I think I'll go with +16.
But the popular one is
No.
correct. No.
No.
Faith has something to say.
I thought it was 16 because I multiplied the negative times the -2, and I got positive, and then
Let's check.
Well,
Well, you did Dylan's way that he
Yeah.
did last time. You said a negative times a negative is a positive, so I have a +2 here to the 4th power.
It doesn't work like
And
that.
2 to the 4th power is 16, so next thing he can get out of class.
It doesn't
No,
work
but
like
you
that.
still have to do
Russell?
the times by the
Do
-1.
you always have to do the exponents first?
Yes.
Please excuse my dear aunt.
Yeah, exactly. Please excuse her, whether you want to or not.
I don't see
Exponents
it.
are
First.
-2 to the 4th power is?
16.
You still
Listen to my question. If we're gonna excuse our dear Aunt Sally,
I'm confused.
-2 to the 4th power is
Positive 16.
+16, but then there's still this fellow out here. And negative 1 times 16 is
Negative 16.
negative 16. Well, for pity's sake, which answer is right?
Negative
Sally.
16.
Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, we have to follow that. The answer is negative
Violent
16.
Sally.
So, can we do what we thought we might be able to get away with? No, not all the time, so don't try it. I would suggest you just not even try it unless you get something figured out that, oh, it works in these situations. And maybe you'll figure that out someday, I don't know. Okay, let's go to the back side. Well, now we're gonna do what we're really gonna do in our homework, okay? So, remember what I said, an expression is not simplified if it has either negative or zero exponents. I think you're right, there's a lot closer to you. Garbage can, Leaky spots, the whole works, Mr. Conlon, the smiling you. Okay, let's go.
What?
2a, 10 to the negative 4 power, we're not using our calculators. The first thing we're going to do is rewrite this without a negative exponent. What would it look like? 1 over 10 to the 4th
Oh,
power.
yeah, that. Do I have to rewrite this?
1 over 10 to the 4th power, yes, we're going to show this. And 1 over 10 to the 4th power, we're not going to put that into our calculator. We're going to say, oh, 1 is 1. And 10 to the 4th power is 10,000. 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. 1/10,000.
I get it because
That's
4
I did this
zeros.
in my homework.
Yeah, this is the good news. When they're taking 10 to a power,
It's how many
it's
zeros?
however, yeah, the zeros are however, there's that many zeros as the exponent is. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Okay. Negative 2 to the negative 4 power. How are we going to get rid of the negative power? 1 over negative 2. Are those parentheses important?
Yes.
Absolutely. We learned that on the front side. Negative 2 to the positive 4 power. And we also learned on the front side that negative 2 to the positive 4 power is 16. So our answer is 1/16.
I did it wrong.
Okay? Try the next one on your own.
That's
Okay. Uh-huh. I got this.
This is first two C.
It's my way or no way. The answer is negative 1/32.
The first, well, would the one right before your answer, 1 over negative.
Would that count? I couldn't count it wrong, but it's not going to show up in an answer bank that way. When you have a fraction, if you have one of either the numerator or the denominator is negative, that makes the whole fraction negative. We pull it out in front of it. Okay? So just do it. I mean, just think them out like that. So you can say, this is what it would look like in an answer bank. Did you get it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. How about the next one? Let's see, that would be written as, is that negative part of that power? No, that's a negative 1. And then that's going to be multiplied times our power, which is a negative power. And how can we change our negative power so it's not negative power? 1 over 2 to the, not 2/5, I keep hearing this kind of talk, you guys. 2 to the
Fifth
fifth
power.
power. Come on, you can sound intelligent, I know you can. And
I only do that for John.
now we're going to do negative 1 times 1 over 35.
32.
32. Okay, I like that better. And a negative 1 times a 1 over 32 is?
Negative 1/32 seconds.
Negative 1/32. Yeah. Got the same answer. And then I just said on the front side, you got to use parentheses, otherwise there's something. What? Do I know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I know.
I would probably.
I'm the math teacher, so I should. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you went to how many years of school?
A lot.
Was it worth it?
I didn't get my degree, my college degree, so it's 44, so I went a lot.
Really?
Yeah. But it's search on 40.
Oh.
Okay, so why did it turn out that it was the same here, but it didn't down the front when we were doing that with that -2 to the 4th power. And when we didn't have the -2 in parentheses, it got a different answer than when it did. Why is it different there?
Just depends on the numbers.
It depends on what numbers, what?
The ordering exponents.
The exponents. If the exponents are odd, does it make a difference?
Yes,
If the exponents are even,
yes.
does it make a difference? Okay, guess what, it really doesn't when they're odd, but it does when they're even. Those are the tests. But you were just gonna do it all the time, so we don't not get them correct. Okay, let's do this next one, 3a. P to the -3 for p equals 4. Well, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna substitute that 4 in for p. So we have 4 to the -3 power, not 4 to the -3. 4 to the -3 power, which can be rewritten as 1 over 4 to the 3rd power. And you're gonna get so you're gonna know these powers. They're gonna be like just rolling off your tongue like nothing. What's 4 to the 3rd power?
Yes.
32.
No,
Alright.
64. You'll get there. I know you will. 1/64.
I tried.
That's it. That's how we're gonna give it. Do we have any 0 exponents in there? Any negative exponents? Can we simplify that fraction? I'm feeling like we've done a good job then. Okay, let's do this next one. We're supposed to do it. A is supposed to be -2, B is supposed to be 6, so we're gonna, it's a multiplication problem really. So we have 8 times A, which is -2, to the -2 power, times B, which is 6, and since it's not a negative, we don't have to put it in parentheses, but we can, it won't hurt anything. If it was a -6, we would have to put it in parentheses. Okay, can 8 be simplified?
No.
8 is 8. How about -2 to the -2 power? Do we need to simplify that?
Yeah.
Yeah, what are we going to simplify it to? What's its
1
fraction name
over
first?
4.
Well, first, don't go there quite so fast. 1 over,
Negative.
-2 to the
Oh.
+2 power. Don't skip these steps. You're going to get, especially when we start working with variables, it's going to get confusing if you do. And then what can do is 6 to the 0 power. We're going to say 6 to the 0 power.
No.
What's it going to
One.
become?
1.
1. Okay. Well, it looks like we got a fraction above here, so I'm going to make 8 into a fraction. And now we'll make it 1 over -2 squared is 4. And when you multiply by 1, what's that do? The same thing. So do we need to do it?
No.
No. 8 times 1 is?
8.
8. 1 times 4 is?
4.
Does that simplify?
No.
To 2. There's our answer.
Who said how?
You're so smart. I thought just is that simplified. My ears are not today.
Okay. So that's evaluating. Given values for the variables, plug them in, simplify till you can't simplify anymore. Okay, now we're going to find the missing value. Now we're going to see what you really know.
I got the
1/25 equals 5 to the
-3rd.
2.
-2.
okay? And here's what kind of work could we show for that? Well, we would say the part we know, we'll take, yeah, we do.
Oh, 20.
The part we know is 1/25.
That
How
has
can
to
that be renamed as a power of 5? We would say 1 over 5 to the 2nd power. Could we do that?
Yes.
And then 5 to the 2nd power. We don't want it in a denominator. We want it upstairs. So when it moves upstairs, what happens to it, London?
It becomes negative.
It becomes negative. So we end up with 5 to the -2 power. Our question mark is that -2, isn't it? Just like some of you said. So we take what they give us in it and we work with that. So in our next one, we're going to take the 2 to the -3 power and say, how can I rewrite that? It's 1 over 2 to the 3rd power, which then, yes, does become 1 over 8. And have we found our question mark?
Yeah.
We're looking for what should be over 8. We found it. It's 1. Okay, and that last one. We're going to take this 2 times 3 to the -2 power, and we're going to transform it, simplify it. 2 is 2. 3 to the negative 2 power is 1 over 3 squared, right? And then we're gonna say, oh, okay, well 2 can be made into a fraction. 1 over 3 squared is that 1/9 I'm hearing. 2 times 1 is 2, and 1 times 9 is 9, and we were looking for the denominator of, for the numerator of 2, so we found our missing one. We found our 9. So yes, you'll be doing some of these in your homework also. Whew, got it?
Do we go through again?
Sure. Absolutely.